Another shoe has dropped in the ongoing crisis involving Boeing's grounded 737 MAX, and this time it fell in the company's C-suite. CEO Dennis Muilenburg is out immediately. Chairman David Calhoun will take over as CEO next month, and investors reacted positively to that news, sending Boeing shares higher by about 3% today. Phil LeBeau, of course, has been following this story all along. He joins us tonight from Chicago. Why now for the firing of Mr. Muilenburg, Phil?
Bill, I think there were two things that have happened within the last month that the board of directors finally said, enough, we have to make a change. The first one being that Dennis Muilenburg was called to Washington, D.C., and he was essentially dressed down by the head of the FAA. The head of the FAA says, you don't make demands. We call the shots here in terms of when this plane is safe and ready to return to the air. That was a very public meeting. Maybe the meeting itself wasn't public, but it was a dressing down.
Right.
The CEOs rarely have that happen. And the second thing happened 4 days later when Dennis Muilenburg said, we are going to shut down the 737 MAX line, at least for a couple of months or who knows how long, temporarily is the language that they used. That's unprecedented. For a company of this size, with this history, to, for the first time ever, voluntarily shut down a production line,
right,
that was enough for the board. They finally said, it's time for a change.
Quickly, does this speed up the return of the 737 MAX, do you think?
No. I think that what it does do is it probably improves Boeing's relationship with the FAA at a minimum, because already Dave Calhoun, one of his first acts as the incoming CEO was to call Steve Dickson, head of the FAA, this morning. He said, we welcome rigorous oversight. We want to be regulated. That's the beginning of changing the tenor and tone that has been a problem at Boeing for some time, and in particular during this entire 737 MAX crisis.
We should point out David Calhoun is a veteran in the industry. He's worked at various other companies in that area as well. What will be his agenda, do you think?
Really three things. One, rebuilding the relationship with the FAA. It's completely broken, and you have to have that rebuilt. Second, they're going to do a reset on the 737 MAX. That doesn't mean scrapping all the work, but it does mean sitting down with the engineers, with the leadership, saying, where are we? What can we realistically expect? Okay, let's move forward from here. And then finally, rebuilding the relationships with the airlines and the suppliers. Those are damaged. I mean, I talked with one executive in an airline today, Bill. He said, Dave Calhoun and our CEO had a long conversation, and our CEO had a look on his face like, this is welcome. I mean, it's not going to change overnight,
right,
but this is the beginning of improving that relationship.
On what was supposed to be a vacation day for Phil LeBeau, but he came in on a big news day. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
You got it. Merry Christmas.
All right.